show joining us today, the great Dan Butterly, the commissioner of the Big West Conference, my conference, I like to say. Dan, I know it's a busy weekend. I know you got a lot of stuff in your pocket here. Thanks for giving us a couple minutes. I'll jump right into it. Big West basketball, the best year in a long time since I can remember, going back to the student days. And the story seems to be the Tritons. You got a big smile on your face. The story seems to be the Tritons. They're like the Beatles. Everybody wants to talk about the Tritons. All the national guys, John Fanta's tweeting about them, Rocco Miller's tweeting about them. I know when we talked a couple of years ago, you said, hey, I wish there was a way we could kind of waive the period. You know what? I think it was just right because they're hitting the ground running. Give us a little bit on the Tritons of UC San Diego.
No, great to be with you today and great to catch up on a lot of things that we haven't talked much this season. So this is a great opportunity to catch up. But obviously, yes, UC San Diego having a great season in many ways, as is Big West basketball. I mean, you look at UC Irvine, you look at CSUN, you look at Riverside. The Big West basketball, particularly on the men's side, what we inherited needed to be improved. And it's great that we're a top 12 conference in the country, particularly as we're looking at the potential of extra bids in the NIT this year as well. But I mean, you just look at some of the statistics for UC San Diego. You're right. I was frustrated having to wait a 4-year period for them to be eligible to be in Division One, but not as much as UC San Diego was. I think if they were able to shorten that period, they probably would have been ready to go at that point as well. I think they probably would have been top 4 in the Big West last year in men's basketball,
Yeah.
right there in women's basketball as well. So obviously playing extremely well, but they rank in the top 10 in so many categories right now. And turnover margin, they're number 1 in the country. Least turnovers per game, number 1 in the country. Scoring margin, second in the country. I mean, this team is playing extremely well this season, but so is the rest of the Big West as well.
What do you attribute that to? What do you attribute the ascension to? I think when you guys took over, we were hovering right around 20 in terms of the conference RPI, conference net. This year, as you mentioned earlier, 12 in conference RPI. Last I checked, it was 12 in conference net. I know a couple of the teams have gotten better. What do you attribute the rise to in the conference?
I think part of it, obviously, coaches that have been brought on board and those and making, as I said in my interview, probably May 4th, 2020, when I got hired, was we don't have the resources to go out and turn things quick. This is a much slower ship to turn because we don't have the financial resources to go out and buy games. We are a league that gets bought to help
Yeah.
fund our athletic departments, not a league that buys teams for wins. So we really had to look at scheduling smarter, not harder. Rather than playing at an Arizona or a UCLA or an Oregon and get bought by those institutions in men's basketball, we can get bought by other institutions with the same amount of money and potentially win those games. I mean, you look at games like Northern Iowa, UC Irvine wins at Northern Iowa, UC San Diego wins at Utah State, which is extremely difficult to do. UC
Huge,
Riverside wins
huge.
at Colorado State. I mean, those are big wins for us, and just those little tweaks can help boost a net ranking. As I worked with multiple members of the NCAA committees over my term throughout my career. Even just 1 or 2 more Division One wins per institution can boost a league's conference net ranking, or we used to be RPI, 4 to 6 spots. And that's exactly what we're trying to do, is help our coaches schedule better and smarter. And I think that's why we're having some success. And we just, as I tweeted out today, it's just the beginning. We still have work to do, but it's nice to see a top 12 Big West conference.
It does help that there are a lot of mid-majors in the Western United States. Like, for example, CSUN's example, going to that tournament in Montana turned out to be huge for them. Their net rode all the way up, and it's kind of stayed where it's at since that Thanksgiving tournament. All right, Dan, let's go to Thursday.
Yep.
Thursday is, I grew up listening to Mike and the Mad Dog in New Jersey, and he talks about, he worked for Brent Musburger, the NFL Today, and he used to talk about DeWitchen Hour, which is kind of the big time when all the fortunes turn for all the teams. We got big games on Thursday. CSUN's going to UCR. That game is in essence for third place. But what intrigues me is the bottom of the conference. I don't say bottom of the conference, but that bottom part of the bracket is still really up in the air. Big one for the Bows. They got to go to Bakersfield, and Rod Barnes' team going to give them no quarter. And Cal Poly. Cal Poly's ascension. So there's really 3 teams jockeying for 2 spots. Now I know the attention's going to go to San Diego. We already talked about the Tritons. Irvine, CSUN, UC Riverside, and those teams, Santa Barbara. But that 6, 7, and 8 jumble, that's got to have a smile on your face as well. Some really competitive teams there.
Well, this is the thing. Obviously, I've worked in leagues, and I've worked with a number of basketball coaches over my 30 plus years in conference office, and working in men's basketball specifically. That every coach wants to make the tournament, 1 through 11. Obviously that's something that every coach wants. But I think being in 1 through 8, only bringing the top 8 out of the 11 has really created some intrigue in the regular season schedule. You're not sitting there at the end just wondering what your seed is. You're wondering if you're going to make it in many ways, and I think that creates more importance for those games, like as you said on Thursday. The Bakersfield Hawaii games, those games become vital to make it to Henderson and the Big West Basketball Championship. So that's what part of the thing we wanted to try to create, as well as trying to protect those top teams, those top seeds going into the championship as well. So I think we created some intrigue, and I'm excited to see these games play out Thursday and Saturday. And also, I can't wait till get to next week.
We do have Henderson coming up, and I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to that, seeing you and your entire crew out there in Henderson at now it's the Lee's Family Forum now. It's no longer the Dollar Loan Center, so I got to remember that, albeit some people get upset. But in terms of the movement in the league, we discussed it a little bit before I turned the mic on. Um, UC Davis and Hawaii leaving the conference.
Mhm.
I'm guessing you guys were kind of prepared for Hawaii. I remember when I worked at ABC, we had kind of the death, the obituary files for people kind of who are getting older in case something happened. We would need to prepare something. There'd be video and this, that, and the other. But Davis to me was a little bit of a surprise. I'm curious as to how you and the folks in your office felt when you heard that news.
Well, obviously, you hate to lose any institution. I mean, we're growing and building things here at the Big West, and we're showing success and moving forward in many ways. But obviously, when you've got football and football drives some decisions, I mean, obviously, football for Hawaii's FBS football, they're a member of the Mountain West in football only. So, kind of had an inkling that that could happen as soon as I took the job back in 2020. But UC Davis, I know, has football aspirations as well, and that's part of the drive to join the Mountain West Conference or reformulated Mountain West Conference since I worked there back for 21 years. Football drives a lot of decisions. You're seeing that a lot in the NCAA, in the governance structure, in the shakeups with the CFP and conference realignment across the country, and obviously with the Pac-12 and Mountain West, the breakups there. The Mountain West had to reformulate. The Pac-12 has to reformulate, and this was an opportunity for those institutions that really have football, particularly FBS football aspirations, to go out and take a look at what may be available for them. And UC Davis is looking down their history, their future, and I think FBS football is in their future.
In terms of Hawaii, I do think it was a thing. Volleyball has become really big in the Big West Conference, and I think all 6 teams, as we speak, I believe all 6 teams are ranked. I think there are 4 teams in the top 10 as we speak.
Yes.
Keeping Hawaii now. What I mean, I don't know how much you can tell me, Dan.
Mhm.
What was that negotiation like? Was that something that you guys both realized? Hey, this makes sense. The Mountain West doesn't, or yeah, the Mountain West doesn't sponsor men's volleyball, so it made sense for all the parties to kind of keep things on the table as they were.
Yeah, we obviously Hawaii has 4 sports that do not play. The Mountain West does not host, does not sponsor. So when they were looking at a home, they could choose to stay in the Big West and ask for an affiliate membership, or look to the MPSF, the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation. And Hawaii really wanted to stay in the Big West. So when they submitted their letter of interest in becoming an affiliate member in 4 sports, men's volleyball being probably one of the more prominent sports in that respect for them, and obviously the Big West, when you look at you need 6 institutions to remain Division 1 in the sport, and to compete for national championships. Hawaii staying in men's volleyball is extremely important to us. So they requested 4 sports. We accepted them in 4 sports, and we're excited to keep the Bows in the league.
And then is Davis going to stay? Are there any sports that Davis plays in that they don't sponsor in the Mountain West that Big West would maintain their relationship with UC Davis?
I think we're UC Davis is still waiting to see exactly which sports the Mountain West is going to sponsor, and then determine the future for those sports at UC Davis. We're still waiting for an affiliate request from UC Davis, but I know they have interest in submitting that request once they make that determination which sports to consider.
All right, we talked about the teams that are walking out now. Rumor has it that some teams may be walking in, and you and I have kind of joked about this in the past. I know, you're a guy. It's like, you're in real estate. You need to survey the market. You need to know what's going on, who's moving out, who's moving in, which warehouses may become available, and this, that, and the other, which retail spaces may become available. So the word on the street, there was I guess it was tweeted last week that the Big West is going to accept Cal Baptist, CBU, and Utah Valley. Now, I know you can't tell me everything. There was supposed to be a meeting on Friday, so I'll ask you directly. Was there a meeting on Friday, and are the results known to you in terms of that meeting on Friday or the vote that happened on Friday?
Well, like any good athletic director, you know when a coach departs or when your athletic head coach go, you've always got 3 to 5 coaches in your pocket that you want to look at to fill those shoes as an athletic director. And it's the same as a conference commissioner with member institutions. If an institution were to depart, you have institutions that you may have interest in pursuing. The board of directors did meet on Friday. We continue to discuss membership and the future of the membership. Can't give you any details yet, but hope to make an announcement soon.
Okay. Now, am I correct in that there are two institutions being considered, meaning in the sense that so we were at 11, Big West is now at 9, and that your preference would be to go back to 11 teams. Is that correct?
Well, I would tell you that we may go beyond 11 at this point.
Okay.
So again, discussions are ongoing. We continue to look at the Western landscape, particularly. Obviously, we're not going to look like the ACC or the uh, Big Ten and go all the way out east to play Big West conference games. That's why we're known as the Big West. But
Mhm.
we could go beyond any number that is currently sitting out there.
Okay. So you guys were, as you said, with when the teams left, you had ideas in your mind. There was no thought to just staying at 9 then at that point.
Correct. It was a consideration, obviously, to look at 9, but again, you got to look at the future of NCAA Division One athletics. You got to look at the footprint that we're in, and you also want to get stronger, get better, if at all possible. So those are everything that we look at when we look at potential expansion of membership and who may be out there that has interest. And we're fortunate, given the growth and the direction of the Big West in the last 5 years, we have a lot of institutions that have expressed interest in joining the Big West. So I'm excited at the discussions that are being had and the potential that we're looking at.
All right, and the last thing before I let you go, I mean, I appreciate you. I know it's a packed day for you. Thank you for giving me a couple minutes today. What can we look forward to? Men's, women's basketball championships in Henderson. What are some highlights that if people want to get out to Henderson, what would you ask them to consider?
I think that part of the thing they need to consider is we changed up ticketing this year. We're trying to make it easier and better for fans that want to attend the Big West basketball championships. We've gone to GA seating, general admission seating. So the sooner you get to the building, the better seat you can grab for the full day games at the Lee's Family Forum. Ticket prices are still really inexpensive: $150 for the all session ticket, $20 for women's sessions, $30 for men's sessions. We've got a lot of great new corporate partners coming on board. Credit Union One is a new one for us. It's going to really engage with fans at the championship, as well as Hercules Tires remains our title sponsor. So we've got a lot of good things beyond the amazing basketball, the stronger basketball that we've got this year in the Big West, which I know will be the biggest driver. But I'm excited about some of the tweaks we continue to make to make it easier for fans. And the one thing that I always love whenever I attend an event, free parking. So you don't have to worry about throwing out $15 or whipping out your credit card as you try to park and deal with traffic. Again, free parking, GA seating. We're really making it as fan friendly as we possibly can.
Yeah, so $30 for the men's sessions includes parking. That sometimes, depending on where you go in LA, Dan, that's parking in and of itself.
Absolutely. And I paid enough parking fees at CSUN to know that the parking fine
Oh
is
yeah.
the ticket is cheaper than the parking fine. So
Well, I mean, again, you've been so transparent with us. You've been very accommodating, and you've been very generous with your time. And Dan, I always appreciate you giving me a couple minutes. And I'll see you in Henderson. Thank you so much.
absolutely can't wait to shake your hand, see you in person, and looking forward to some great basketball next week.
You're the one guy that says that. No, I'm kidding. But Dan Butterly, Commissioner of the Big West, thank you for updating us kind of on the status of the conference, and looking forward to again seeing all you and all your staff at Henderson.
We look forward to seeing you. Look forward to seeing all the fans as well. Thank you.